Hi everyone, my name is Chloe and welcome to another TGI Friend Day. So today I have I feel like a booktube legend with me. I was telling my husband actually before this that I'm a little nervous today because this lady does everything. She does booktube. She has a podcast. She is one of the hosts of Middle Grade March. She's just awesome. And one thing about your channel is that I will watch it and know objectively I have zero interest in that book. And yet I will be putting it on my TBR because the way you talk about books just makes me want to read them, even if I know I won't like them. So, Katie, go ahead and introduce yourself. That's a compliment, by the way.
I know. I take it as a compliment.
Okay,
Oh
good.
my goodness. Thank you. I I feel like, wow, that makes me feel so I feel so honored that I feel so honored. Yeah, I feel like I have my fingers in a lot of different things, but I don't do anything very well. So
Oh, I beg to differ, but
um and I mean I guess I'll also say the podcast is on a very long hiatus right now, and I
okay.
don't know whether it's going to come back or not. It kind of, I mean, I would love to do it again.
Mhm.
It's sort of a matter of like whether Molly will feel up to it at any point.
Yeah,
She's so busy right now.
yeah,
She's just so busy with her editing
yep,
and being a first
yeah,
time mom and stuff like
yeah.
that. You know,
Yeah, because the
that's a big transition.
yeah, Katie's channel and YouTube or YouTube and Instagram are both
Life
um
between words.
we
Yes, yes. Sorry. So yeah,
were
my
just
I'm
talking
my
about brain farts and yeah,
I know.
life between words. And the podcast was No Thanks We're Booked.
Yes,
And
yes.
she did it with Molly. And then you guys both had babies right around the same time, right?
I did. I had
Yeah.
my third baby, Marigold, and she had her first baby, Matilda. And
Oh,
so we took a break, and then I think it just turned into a kind of like a, we'll
yeah.
see if we can do this
Yeah.
again at some point. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
so my channel, you asked me to introduce myself, and here I am rambling. My channel, my YouTube channel is Life Between Words. My Instagram handle is Life Between Words. So that's where I am
Mhm.
a lot. And I also I've taken a break from YouTube a couple times.
Yeah.
Um, Once when I started the podcast, and then again, sort of when COVID took over my life, and I tried to like reorganize how life was going to
Yeah.
work during
Yeah.
this time. Because even though I was stuck at home, I felt like I had less time. So
Yeah. And I don't know what that is. And for me, I think it was because I was then having to spend a lot of time figuring out how to entertain my children without going
yeah,
places.
yeah.
And so maybe, or maybe just the mental drain of that. I don't know, but I felt the same, almost like I had more to do being stuck at home.
Yeah, I think it's all of that. I think we don't give ourselves credit for what a mental toll it
Mhm.
is, to what a mental toll this year has taken, just
Yeah.
in general for everyone, but I think parents a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
Well, and I think we're still in it enough that we can't see that yet. I think this will be
Oh
one of
yeah.
those experiences that 5 years down the road we'll be like, how did we make it through that?
Yeah.
But now that
Yeah.
we're still in it, it's kind of hard to see exactly how draining this past year has been. But
Oh, totally.
well,
Yeah. So I took kind of a break because of that. Like I just was not in a place where I could handle a whole lot
mhm.
for like maybe 8 months.
Yeah. Were you
Yeah.
still reading or just not reading?
There were a couple months where I was reading, but really, really slowly. Like I
Yeah.
think there were about 2 months where I maybe read 3 books.
Yeah.
Um, and then I picked up, and a little bit that was because every book I read was like, this doesn't feel like real life to me right now.
Mhm.
Like people are
Yes.
seeing, like they're going out and seeing each other, and like there was physical touch, and like I was
Yes.
like, this does not reflect my reality. And there
Right.
was this cognitive dissonance that I just could not get over.
Yeah.
Especially in like March, April, May. I was like that.
Mhm.
And I couldn't get past that. I
I
have
agree.
now
Yes.
gotten past it,
Yes.
but there
Yeah.
was a while where it took me some time to be like, it's okay that things are not reflected, like reality is not reflected in books. It
Well,
took me
and
a
I don't
while.
know that we necessarily would have wanted reality reflected in books at that time. Maybe, but it's I feel like we were kind of, Yeah, I feel like there's two camps of people who read more and people who read less during
Yeah.
COVID. And for me, I would say my motivation and stuff what was a lot less, just because of that weird, like I didn't want to see what was going on in my books, but I
Yeah.
also like, why are you going to a party and hugging somebody? And like, what are you thinking that is not safe? What is this
Yeah, exactly.
gathering?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, your mother has been on your channel a little bit. Have you always been a reader?
I have. And I know that my mom growing up, it was a high priority for her to raise children that were readers,
Mhm.
because she's a reader.
Right.
Now I have sort of overtaken her in how much I read
Uh-huh.
as an adult. And she'll often say, like, I don't know how much you read. I don't know how you do it, Katie.
Yeah.
Um, but then she'll remember, like, oh, when I was a young parent, I didn't have the distractions that I do today, like
Mhm.
phones and stuff. So she
Yeah.
did do more reading when she was younger too. But yeah, I grew up as a reader. I even yeah, I don't remember a time when books were not a part of my life, and I do credit that to my mom a lot.
For sure. So your kids, are they, Marigold obviously not, but are they readers?
Um Wilder is a little too wild. He lives into his name.
Uh-huh.
We read every night before bed,
Yeah.
but Wilder, unless you like lock him in a room with you, he won't he generally won't sit quietly enough to
Yeah.
read an entire book,
Yeah.
which makes me sad, but I do think there will come a time,
Yeah,
as
because
long as I
he's
continue to
young still.
yeah, as
So,
long as I continue to make the practice of it. And
mhm.
Fox is more of a reader, but unfortunately, he too is like, oh, is this book a movie too?
Yeah,
I'll read it if it's a movie.
sure. Yeah.
Because my rule is always, you have to read the book if you want to
Yeah.
watch the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that
Yeah.
rule. What did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a writer.
Did you?
I
And do you
did.
write?
No. I mean, sort of. I write for my work. So I work 20 hours a week at a Christian ministry, and I do a lot of grant writing is what I do. So it's like technical writing. It's
Yeah,
not really fun writing.
right.
Although I have written other more fun things for them as well. And I still have like a desire to write.
Mhm.
Um, and I've even had like story ideas
Sure.
that I've written down, but have never done anything with. So I
Yeah.
can't say in good conscience that I'm a writer, because writers write and I
Right.
don't. Um,
Well, you're at a
but
very busy stage of life right now where
yeah,
a
yeah,
lot.
I am. And I mean, maybe at some point, Kate DiCamillo didn't start. I don't know if you're familiar with Kate.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But Kate DiCamillo didn't start writing until she was, I think, in her midlife.
Really?
No, she's never been a parent, so she's never been in the stage of life that I'm in necessarily, but
Sure.
she didn't start writing until she was older. So,
Interesting.
it's not
Yeah.
out of the realm of possibility for me. But yeah,
Even
I wrote all the time when I was a kid, all the
yeah.
time.
Yeah. Even like Debbie McComber, who has now written so many books. I don't think she started until I think it was early 30s, but still like that was not her career fresh out of the gates. And so I think
Yeah.
that is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you say your favorite genre is?
Oh my gosh, that's so hard for me,
Yeah, because you
because
also read very eclectically.
I'm an eclectic reader. I think I'd say, like, if I had to choose one genre to read for the rest of my life or whatever, like, I think I would probably choose historical fiction.
Really?
I do.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it takes me to, in similar to fantasy, it takes you to like another realm. Like, it doesn't
Sure.
look like life today.
Right.
Um, but it's still based in reality. So you don't have like the magic systems and stuff.
Mhm.
And also, like, there's this aspect of learning with
Yes.
historical fiction that I really enjoy. Um, so yeah, I think I would choose historical fiction.
Yeah.
It's
So
like a solidly consistent good read for me.
yeah. Is there a specific like time period that you like to read about? Or just anything?
Really anything. I'm gonna say I tend to really enjoy historical fiction set pre 1900. Like
Oh,
my favorites are like really really historical, like
yeah.
1500s,
Ha-
etc.
Have you read like all the Philippa Gregory books?
I've read a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like
Yeah,
those?
I think
Yeah.
she was really sort of my introduction to
Mhm.
adult historical fiction. I
Yeah.
read The Other Boleyn Girl,
Yeah.
um oh gosh, so long ago now, but I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think World War II stuff is overdone, or do you not get sick of that?
I do.
You
I do
you
think
get
it's
sick of it.
overdone.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do. I
Yeah.
I like it and I still enjoy it and I'll read it. Like it's not going to turn me off, but I feel like there's so many other interesting time periods to explore that are really underrepresented that
Yeah.
I wish authors would dip their toes into.
Sure.
Yeah.
Who are some of your favorite authors? That's a hard question.
It is. Okay, so oh gosh. In what genre?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's start with historical fiction.
Historical fiction. Okay, so uh oh, why can't I think of her name? Oh, my favorite. I've done it like I did an author spotlight on her when I first started my channel. Why can't I think of her name? Hang on just a second.
Okay.
Kate Morton. Kate Morton. Kate
Okay.
Morton is definitely one. I love Kate
Okay.
Morton. Um uh who else do I love for historical fiction? Oh gosh.
Do you like Rudis?
Oh,
Have you read her? Have you read her
who?
stuff? Rudis the Petties?
I love Rudis Apetys. Yep,
Yeah.
I love Rudis Apetys. I love Susan Meissner. I
Mhm.
really enjoy Susan Meissner.
Yeah.
Um, let's see, who else can I think of? I'm trying to think of authors that I've read more than one book from
Yeah.
because I feel like that's the only way that's fair.
Yeah.
Um,
Are you the type that will like binge an author, or do you like to kind of just jump around?
I feel like pre my book internet life, I would binge.
Yeah.
But now I feel inundated by so many new books and new authors that I want to read that sometimes even if I want to binge, I feel a pull not to.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Being deep in backlist is like a hard place to be for a while when you are a book influencer, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did middle grade March get its start?
So I remember, so I've always loved reading middle grade.
Mhm.
And when I mean, so before booktube and before my life on the internet with books, um so I worked at Barnes and Noble for a while after grad school and I worked in the children's section and I loved it. And I was always, my favorite thing was recommending people middle grade books. I would even get in trouble sometimes because when I was supposed to be working and interacting with customers, I'd be like sitting in the aisle, like, like reading
Yeah.
children's books.
Yeah.
And I never understood. I was like, why am I getting in trouble for this? Like, I should know the books so that I can recommend the books to people. And like, if it's not busy, why can't I do this? But anyway, I digress. So I've always loved middle grade. And when so I think, so it was, so this is our fourth middle grade March. So we started it in 2017. And so that was like a year into my booktube life. And so in that first year of booktube, I realized that there was a real dearth of people talking about middle grade, like that it was just something that people didn't talk about at all. So it's all, at that point it was like YA heavy. And I feel like it's still YA heavy on booktube. But there was sort of an emerging group of people on booktube talking about adult literature. But there was no one talking about middle grade.
Yeah.
No one at that time.
Yeah.
And so I remember putting out a video, and I don't remember what video it was. It didn't have anything to do with middle grade, I don't think. Or maybe it was a middle grade recommendations video. Anyway, in some video that I made, I was like, I'm thinking about starting a middle grade readathon. Would anyone be interested in hosting that with me? And Krista came forward, and because I'd already had a friendship with Krista, I was like,
Let's do it.
yeah, let's do it. So Krista responded to that, like that public inquiry that I made, and so that's how we started it.
Yeah. So, and I feel like middle grade March has been huge in normalizing reading middle grade because I don't know if it's a stigma or what it is around reading middle grade that people don't do it. But I feel like there's a lot of us who just find a comfort in middle grade, and it's just so, it gets heavy, but there's almost always some hope at the end.
Yeah.
And it's just something that I'm surprised more people haven't dug into this year, especially. But
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because I think I've gotten a lot of comments from people since releasing our announcement video and recommendations video who have said to me, middle grade has been such a comfort to me in this year of COVID. And it's true. I feel like it's been a really heavy year, and middle grade offers a respite in that. Even when the books are heavy and dealing with really heavy things, you never leave a middle grade book feeling like the world is a hopeless place.
right, right. Yeah, that is a great
Yeah.
thing. So what are some of your other favorite genres?
Um,
I would say the
oh,
author I most associate you with is Ellen Montgomery, I think.
oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So
And she falls into sort of this, I don't even know what genre this would be called, but like heartwarming comfort.
mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know what genre that is, but I really gravitate towards books like that.
Well, and it's almost like it's not classics. I mean, Anna Green Gables and stuff is a classics, but do you like the Mitford series?
Love the Mitford. I've only read the first, but I loved it. Yeah.
Okay. And
And
it's
but I would totally put that into that
yes, it's kind of
category.
that same, um, yeah, I don't know how you really describe that.
No, I like you could put you it almost would be like you could put any genre of book kind of in there. So I don't know if it's really a genre, but because like I would put Gentleman in Moscow in that book, which
Yeah.
was my favorite book from 2020. I read it, I loved it. It brought me so much comfort. Like there was nothing, it wasn't like once again, it's the kind of book where like yeah, there's some heavy things that happen in it, but you feel your heart feels so full reading it. And
Yeah.
that's how I feel when I read Anne of Green Gables.
Yep.
And that's how I feel when I read like the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. And that's how I feel when I read what are some other books that like Peace Like a River is another one of my favorites, and that falls into that same category or like genre.
Yeah.
um
It's almost
yeah.
like it's not simple writing, but it's almost like a simpler way of life or a slower, I mean, I don't know that it's not slow, and the writing is definitely not simple, but it's like just a more, yeah, I can't think of the words, but I know what you're saying.
Like heartwarming and not like not it's not fraught. So
Yeah.
it's not there's nothing fraught in it. Like it's they're books that feel like big hugs.
Yeah.
And that is my favorite. And there's some like elements of bittersweetness in there, like another one of my favorites that I mentioned just in my middle grade March recommendations video was Walk Two Moons, which is a middle grade book that has a lot of sadness in it, but it all like you read that book and your heart just feels so full too. So like and same with the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. Have you read that book?
I have, yeah. I didn't like
You
it,
didn't
but
like it?
the epistolary style I think threw me off.
I feel like I remember you saying that the
Yeah, like I
epistolary,
feel like
like
it
that's,
kept me a little distanced from it to where I
yeah,
couldn't quite dig in. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But what I like about books like that is like there was a lot of tragedy in it,
Mhm.
but I felt so like it also is so heartwarming.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how do you keep track of your reading, or do you?
I keep track on Goodreads,
Mhm.
although I'm trying this year to use the story graph.
Yeah, I've just been hearing about this, and I'm
Yeah.
a late adapter when it comes to everything
I
technology
tend
based.
to be too. The thing that I really like you get on it, if you go onto the story graph and like make an account and stuff, I love it. And it's so much more beautiful than Goodreads. Like Goodreads hasn't updated its
Ever.
interface ever.
Yeah.
And the story graph is really lovely to look like. It's very aesthetically pleasing. The reason I haven't fully switched over to it is because there's not an app that I can put on my
Yeah.
phone yet.
Yes.
That I can find in the app store. Apparently there is a way to get it on your phone, but I tried it and it didn't work for me. So
Okay.
um yeah, I feel like if it were to switch over so that, or like if it were to like have, and I think they will do that because it's
Sure,
still pretty
sure.
new. Um, but yeah, until that's available, it's going to be hard for me to use that sort of exclusively to track my reading. But I've also this year I made a book journal, and
Yes.
that has been actually my favorite way this year to keep track of my reading.
Yeah. Well, and is your Narnia spread, is that on any of your social media? Because that is just
I think I flipped,
beautiful.
yeah, I think I
It is
flipped through
beautiful.
that in my YouTube flip through because I had completed it. So I did flip through that Narnia
Okay,
spread,
I'll
which I
try to
had a
link
lot of fun
that.
doing.
I'll try to link that because it is beautiful. But yeah, bullet journaling and journaling is something that I know I would just fall so deep down that rabbit hole that I have not gotten into it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
tried to like bullet journal, like have a bullet journal where I kept track of my life in general a few years ago, and I
Yeah.
did not keep up with it. It was just too much.
Yeah.
But with the book journal I have so far, I've kept up with it. I
Okay.
mean, we are only in February, so
But I've heard it takes 3 weeks to make a habit. So you've made it past that 3 week mark. I say you're winning.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I think also because it doesn't require me to make like weekly spreads. It's like
Yes.
I have to do it at the beginning of the month and then I'm pretty much set and I just kind of fill things in as I go along.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
do you read primarily new stuff or backlist stuff?
I would say primarily backlist.
Yeah. How do
Yeah,
you do you make TBRs?
I do.
And
I
how do
don't always
you do
stick
that?
to them. How do I do that?
Yeah. Like, how do you choose what you're gonna read next?
Um, some of it is based on whether I've got buddy reads or like so it's like my first round of what I choose is um like reads that I feel committed to prioritizing. Like I have, and I still haven't put out this video yet on YouTube, but I have 12 fiction books and 10 nonfiction books that I want to read in 2021.
Okay.
So I pick from that pile first, and I have those like set aside. So that's the first pile of books that I look at.
Okay.
And then after that, I think about whether I have any buddy reads or other commitments like next month, middle grade March. So like
Sure.
I'll put our group read on there. And then it's all based on, or like this month there's historathon and historical fictionathon. So
Mhm.
I picked books based on that. And within that, I just went by feeling. It was like, what do I feel like reading?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I am just toying with the idea. Actually, I was doing it right now of like trying to make a March TBR because I don't do it. But I'm kind of toying with the idea of like making a TBR that's bigger than I know I'll get to, just to narrow down the options. So I can still mood read, but within a bigger chunk or a smaller chunk.
Yeah. I think that's a great sort of compromise
Yeah. Yeah.
to like saying, okay, I want a little bit more structure to my reading, but I still want choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you DNF?
I'm terrible at DNFing.
Yeah.
Awful. I so wish I could DNF.
It is hard. I can't. I very rarely do. It is hard.
Yeah,
But
I think, why is it hard for you? Have you been able to pinpoint why it's hard for you?
FOMO, FOMO, I want to know, like it could get good. Um, and also just especially reading off my shelves, I'm like, there is a reason that this has taken up space in my life. I need to give it a chance, like a good chance. Um, I don't know. No, I don't know. Do you?
Yeah. I've thought about it a little, and I think I don't know that I know for sure, but I think part of it is FOMO,
Yeah.
like you said. And then I think also, and this is maybe the same thing as FOMO, but I always feel like some books, you don't like it until the very end. Like the very end
Yes.
makes the whole book worthwhile. So
Yep.
I'm always like, well, what if this is a book where the very end is going to make the whole thing worthwhile?
Yep.
So it's hard for me to give up on it.
Yes. Well, and like I have read many a books where I like am not sure I'm enjoying the process. And then I look back and I'm like, huh, that actually gave me a lot to think about. And like I actually enjoyed that a lot more than I did while reading it,
Yeah.
like the idea
Yeah.
it presented. And so it is, yeah, it's hard. It's just hard to give up on something. But
Yeah. I just have a hard time. I just have a hard time giving up on things. I wish I were better at DNFing because I do know that like life is finite and there's
yeah,
only so many books I'm going to be able to read in my life.
right.
And like, do I want to give space to a book that I'm ultimately not going to enjoy?
Yeah.
But my problem is I have a hard time recognizing whether it's a book that I'm not going to enjoy until I've finished it. So like,
Or yeah, or like you're so far in that like you might as well just finish it
yeah,
out.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times if I'm like 3/4 of the way through the book, or
Yeah.
even if I've given it 100 pages, I'm like, I've given this 100 pages.
Oh, that's a fair amount of time.
Yeah, I don't like if I don't finish this book, it's like I've just wasted my time. I just have wasted 100 pages of this book. It's more like I wish I could just have not read it at all.
Right. Right. Well, because then you're not giving up on it, Like
Yeah,
maybe what's your Enneagram number?
9.
Maybe a 9.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm not, but like maybe this is an Enneagram thing of like,
What's your Enneagram number?
well, I'm a 3 with a strong 2 wing.
I could see how giving up would be. I could see that because
Yeah.
you're very success
Yeah.
oriented.
An achievement. And like if I start it, I'm gonna finish it, like I'm very determined, I guess.
Yeah. So I could like that's probably how it fits in with a 3. For a
Yeah.
9, I think it probably fits in because um 9s are pretty loyal.
Yeah.
And like the giving like like wanting to see the best in everyone
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everything, and like I want to see the best in this book and maybe this book is going to be great at the end. It has such potential to be great at the very end.
Not usually, but maybe. But maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
What do you feel like you kind of touched on this earlier, but what do you feel like is like missing in the publishing world?
How did I touch on it earlier?
You said that well, I think both no, you talked about the booktube world of missing out on middle grade, but then
Oh,
also just some underrepresented times in history for
oh
historical
yes. Yeah.
fiction. Yeah. Is there
Yeah, I
anything else
feel
that you feel like is like kind of missing or any I think more of that genre that we can't name. Like I feel like that um I'm surprised more of like I feel like in this COVID times, and maybe it's just what I see, but like there's been a lot of like almost slapstick stuff come out
mhm.
as a distraction and not as much of that heartwarming stuff, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah, I would definitely say that that is a place that could be. I feel like in adult, especially sort of like the literary fiction world,
Yeah.
in order to be considered literary, it has to be really heavy and depressing.
Yeah.
Um and I instead of like I feel like something can be beautiful and beautifully written and profound, like deeply profound and not be like
So dark or so
so
heavy.
dark.
So heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, so heavy. And I feel like that really is a place that the publishing, I feel like that is kind of missing in the publishing world. Like there's plenty of heartwarming books, but I feel like sometimes they can become a little twee. They can become a little um like too saccharine, too
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
Um like there's a sweet spot in books where it's like, it's heartwarming. It doesn't like downplay the hard things that happen in life, but there's still a sweetness to it. There's still a heartwarming, like the Anne of Green Gables quote, like, "Dear old world, you are very wonderful and I'm glad to be alive in you." Like, that's what I want more of in books. Like, Anne had a hard life, right? But she was an eternal optimist. And so, and because of that, her world looked sweet. And even when bad things happen, even when Matthew dies, like,
Spoiler.
spoiler. Sorry. I mean, the book is like 100 years old, so.
Yeah, if we spoil it, we spoil it. Yeah. Well, you told us your favorite book of 2020. What was your least favorite? Or do you have a least favorite?
Okay, I can't remember. I think I read this in 2020. I think I read No Exit in 2020.
Oh, really? And that's a least favorite?
I know it's such an
There,
unpopular
I just
opinion.
recently hauled it and I'm nervous.
No, I have a very unpopular opinion about it.
Do you like thrillers in general?
I really struggle with thrillers.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I think there's a couple different reasons why. A lot of times the characters in thrillers are really unlikable. And I have a hard time with unlikable characters. That was not the issue with No Exit. No, so first of all, I think I went into No Exit with really high expectations because it was so hyped. Like, people love that book. And even people who don't really often like thrillers love that book. And so don't take my word. It was my least favorite book, and I'll tell you why without spoilers.
Okay.
I found it gory to the point of distraction.
That's hard. I love thrillers, but like domestic thrillers where it doesn't really toe the line with horror. And yeah, that's a fine line.
Yeah. I don't see, the thing is, I think a lot of people, that wasn't a problem for them with this book, but for me, like, there were places where I was like, this is so unbelievable. Well, like, the situation was unbelievable. And also, like, it was so gory. And I was like, did we need that? Did we really need that description of that?
Yeah.
I don't know. So I really had a hard time with that.
Okay.
So I didn't like it at all. I really didn't like it. I think I gave it like 1 star probably. And I never give books 1 star. I'm a very generous rater.
Yeah. So my question from earlier was going to be, do you read Christian fiction?
Oh, I do. Well, okay. Yes.
Okay.
But I'm picky.
Yes, me too.
Because and I don't know why I have such a stigma about it, but I do. In my head, I'm like, it could just be really cringy. And I'm always so afraid that it's going to be really cringy. But actually, my second favorite book of the entire year in 2020 was a Christian fiction book.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it?
Which kind of shocks me. It's called Iscariot by Tosca Lee. I heard about it from Krista, who read it years and years ago. And she just like mentioned it in passing in one of her videos one time. And I was like, oh, that sounds really interesting. It's about Judas Iscariot. It basically tells the story of Judas Iscariot from his perspective. Okay. And I found it the writing was lovely, which I also have sort of a stigma about the writing of Christian fiction. It's not fair. Like, a lot of the stigma, I think, is my own issue, and it's not fair of me. So the writing was lovely, and I found it so thought-provoking. Like, it was just such a thoughtfully written book, and it explored Judas in a really interesting way. Like, it made him human. I really loved it.
So my thoughts on Christian fiction are this. So because I also don't read it very much, and I can't figure out why, but I think it's because like that kind of thing sounds interesting. Or like, if I know that I am going in to learn or like to see a biblical story from a different perspective, or to learn more about somebody's interpretation of a biblical character or a story, something like that, then I can get on board. What
Mhm.
I don't like is like Christian romance, I think,
Yeah.
where it's like, this is what good Christian people would do, and this is how it would be, and this is this very saccharine, very cheesy. Sometimes we'll throw in Bible verses just to kind of throw in the Bible verse, and I
Right.
think that is where it becomes really off-putting, and where it's like, it becomes a message about like shoulds and stereotypes and things, and not as much about living a life of Christ.
Right. And and also like in terms of like Christian romance, I always think of, when I think Christian fiction, I think about all those Amish romances.
Yeah.
That's what I think about when I hear Christian fiction. Um, Actually, I'm rereading with Krista right now the Mark of the Lion series by Francine Rivers, which I I they do fall into a little bit of like I think some people would find them really cringy.
Yeah.
For me, they are like, I love them. And I
Yeah.
think part of it is because they take place in ancient Rome, and I find the setting so
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Are they nostalgic for you? When did you read them the first time?
Oh, very nostalgic for
Yeah.
me. Yeah, I read them like in my very early 20s, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're totally nostalgic, and um so I'm really really enjoying my reread, but I think that I'm not sure that, I mean, they are really wide, like they are really popular. I think the one book that she wrote that everyone loved when I was in college, all my friends were reading, Redeeming Love,
Uh-huh.
which I read and like I couldn't put it down. Like I found it very compelling,
Yeah.
but I didn't love it that much.
Yeah.
But I did love the Mark of the Lion, and I really think that it's because of the setting. It's
Yeah.
that ancient Roman setting. It's like
Yeah.
that
That's fun.
like historical setting that you don't get a lot. So I really actually am very interested in reading more Christian fiction that focuses on biblical characters, or like ancient historical settings. And there's a lot of that I haven't even touched, but
Yeah.
I'm curious about it.
Yeah. Francine Rivers in general is one that I have not, I haven't read because I'm just so nervous, because she is very like well loved and very well hyped. And I'm nervous, like if I don't like that, I'm not gonna like anything Christian fiction. So I'm
Oh,
nervous.
well, you should try it. You
I
should just try the first Mark of the Lion and see what you think.
Yeah, I
I
should.
would say that over
Redeeming Love.
Redeeming Love, because Redeeming Love is that sort of, it's like only a romance.
Yeah,
Whereas I feel like there's a little bit more
going on.
going on in Mark of the Lion,
Yeah,
because it does have that historical context in it. So there's like gladiators, and
yeah.
I mean, it's fun.
Interesting. Interesting. Well,
Yeah. If you don't like, I mean, if you don't like it, that you should still try Tosca-Lee. You should still try Iscariot, because
how do you spell that?
Tosca-Lee,
Yeah.
Toscalee.
Okay.
I've only read
See how
Iscariot.
it sounds.
Yeah, I only read Iscariot. The other thing about Iscariot was it never felt preachy.
Yeah.
Like I would feel comfortable handing Iscariot to someone who wasn't a Christian.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable handing the Mark of the Lion series to someone who wasn't a Christian.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know, maybe, but like that one feels much more niche, I guess. Whereas Iscariot, like I never felt like that book was like she explored, there's so much in that book that just felt so true to the experience of being a human being, not just a Christian.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What are you currently reading?
So I'm currently reading with Krista the third and final book in our reread of Mark of the Lion. So that one is called, what's it called? As Sure as the Dawn. No, I can't remember. It's right here. Hang on. Is it As Sure as the Dawn? Yeah, As Sure as the Dawn. I was right. So I've got that. And then I'm just starting today The Other Bennett Sister
Oh,
by Janice Hadlow.
Hadlow. Okay.
Have
What's
you read
that
Pride and Prejudice?
about?
Okay. Do you at least know the story of Pride and
Yeah.
Prejudice? So there's 4 sisters. There's Jane, Elizabeth, who are the 2 oldest, and then there's Mary, and then there's Kitty and Lydia. And so the 2 oldest are like the most relatable, the 2 youngest are the silliest, and then there's Mary, who's very overlooked, and she's not pretty and she's not very smart, and so she's just completely sort of cast aside in the book of Pride and Prejudice. And so this book is about Mary.
Okay. Fun. That
Yeah.
sounds good.
And it was on a lot of people's like favorites lists last year. It came out in 2020. I'm super excited to read it.
Yeah. Do
Like,
you
really,
do you always read more than one book at a time?
I do.
Yeah. Do they
Yeah.
have to be different genres, or you can juggle?
I well, these are both historical fiction, but they're set in vastly different
Yeah.
times and stuff. So if I do have trouble if they're really similar
Yeah.
but like if there's enough to set them apart, then I'm okay. I usually do have a nonfiction going, and I actually do have a nonfiction going right now too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, are you ready for the rapid fire this or that?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay. These actually, like, I say that and they always end up not rapid fire at all. But anyway, ebook, audiobook, paperback, or hardback?
Paperback to read, hardback to own.
Okay. Do you do any ebook or audiobook?
I do. I'm just in 2020, I started dipping my toes into audiobooks. I
Okay.
have always struggled to pay attention to them.
Yeah.
Ebooks, I actually usually do have an ebook going, but they just take me a lot longer to read because I tend to just pick up my ebook if it's like late at night and I can't fall asleep or whatever.
Okay. Have you ever tried infinite scroll on your ebook? It's a
No,
set.
does that help?
It's a setting and it helps so much because like when you're turning the pages, one, I get tired of like flicking them all the
Constantly
time,
flipping?
and 2,
Yeah.
it makes it really easy to stop. Whereas if it's infinite scroll, it's like a web page or something, and like, I mean, it feels like that, and like you can't stop as easy, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it really motivates me to at least get to the next chapter. And
Yeah. I'll
uh,
have to try that.
yeah, I enjoy it a lot better for reading on my ebook
Yeah.
or my Kindle. Buy or borrow?
Bye.
Quiet or background noise?
Background noise.
What's quiet? You have 3 kids. What is
I
quiet?
never read in quiet.
Yeah, if you like quiet, you're SOL. Indoor or outdoor?
Indoor.
Meet your
Although I
favorite.
do love to read outdoors too.
Well, I would imagine in Wisconsin, there's kind of a select few months that you can do that.
I would say even less than that because like the height of summer, it's way too hot, and
Yeah,
so like there's very few times when it's comfortable to read outside.
yeah, yeah,
It's either too hot or too cold.
yeah. Meet your favorite author, meet your favorite character.
Favorite character?
Do you know who it would be?
Oh, Anne.
Yeah, yeah. And at what point would you like to meet her?
College.
Okay. Okay.
College Anne. Or maybe I'd want to meet Anne as a mother. I'd want to meet Anne as a mother.
It would be interesting for sure.
But if I were little again, then Anne as a kid.
Yeah.
But I would want to be little so that I could play with her.
Yeah. She would have been a hoot, man. She would have been a good time. Book to film or book to TV?
Book to TV.
Do you watch a lot of adaptations?
Can I say book to miniseries?
Yeah. Yeah.
Book to series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you watch?
I do watch adaptations. Sometimes I get like sometimes I read the book with the idea of watching the adaptation, and then I never get around to actually watching the adaptation.
Yeah. Yeah. I never watched the adaptation, but I like the idea of it.
Yeah.
Like, I like to know that I could if I wanted to.
Yeah. Totally.
Classics or new releases?
I can't decide. I guess I don't know. Like I love reading classics, but I'm much more I feel like I can't read them in quick succession. So maybe I'll go with new releases.
Okay. So with that, no new books or no rereading. And that means no new to you. So nothing, you could not read anything new, anything that you have not read. or no rereading?
No new books.
Yeah. You would
I
just,
have to be able to revisit my favorites.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it would make me too sad. Like, it's not like I always want to pick them up, but like, if I'm like, they're my comfort. That's what I return to for comfort.
Yep. Yep. Standalones or series?
Oh my gosh. Series.
Really? So what do you feel like the sweet spot for a series length is?
Well, as long as the author is motivated to write more, then I'm willing to read more by them in the
Really?
world. Yeah.
Okay.
Like so like with Anne of Green Gables, I know that the whole series of Anne of Green Gables isn't beloved by everyone. But when I first read the series, I loved that I got to follow, like, her story didn't stop. Like,
Yeah.
I loved that I just got to follow her
Yeah.
for her whole life.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we don't see her in old age, but actually that's not true. There's a book that I never heard anyone talk about until the last few years called The Blythes Are Quoted. And I think that's Anne and Gilbert in old age.
Really?
Yeah. It's not, I think people don't talk about it because it does not paint their marriage in a very good light. And so most people like to kind of forget about it.
And that's by Ellen Montgomery?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, it's called The Blythes Are Quoted.
Okay. Solo or book club?
Solo. I
uh,
don't like my reading dictated.
yeah. No, I get it. Well, and like I think I've said it before, but like I feel like booktube is the perfect happy medium because it's like I
Mm-hmm.
can talk to other people, but I'm like totally driving the ship
Yeah,
on what I'm reading and how
exactly.
I'm doing it. And like, yeah.
If I got to choose the book club book every month, like really
No,
last minute, then fine.
yes. I
But
was gonna say, because even that, like, I don't want to, like, I don't want to be forced.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the minute it becomes obligatory is the minute I lose interest.
Which is kind of why I don't make TBRs, you know,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it then does, but that's why I'm doing the big TBR, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be really curious to know if that works for you.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I need to sit
You
down.
read a lot more than me though. How many books a month do you read?
Mm, it depends, probably like 20 to 25.
Yeah, that's so much. Like you read like
Well,
that's practically a book a day.
but that's because my baby does not sleep. And like if I get woken up in the night, I'm up for at least an hour or two. You know, I'm
Yeah.
that kind of person. So and it takes me forever to fall asleep. So I do most of my reading between like 8:30 at night and 5 in the
Mhm.
morning. So
Yeah.
yeah. Um Coffee or tea?
Tea for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite kind?
Oh, this is such a fun question. I think right now my favorite tea, I'm a little bit of a tea snob, which I've kind of discovered in the last probably year because I look forward to my cup of tea every day. Like it's my favorite thing to look forward to. That is my life now.
Yeah. That
Um,
is right now. I get it. I don't know what to say to that. I get it.
and in the last couple months, I have discovered a tea called it's from the Yorkshire tea. That's like the brand.
Okay.
And then it's their toast and jam.
Ooh,
Oh,
that sounds delicious.
it is so good. Their biscuit brew is also really good. That one tastes like biscuit cookies, like English biscuit cookies. Toast and jam has that sort of tartness to it, like the jam tartness.
Can I get these on Amazon?
You can get biscuit brew on Amazon. Toast and jam, I looked for it on Amazon. They don't have it yet. They might eventually, but right now I ordered it from an English company that caters to that sells English products to Americans.
You're like in the black market of teas.
So it's called the British Corner Shop
Okay.
online, the British Corner Shop, and their prices are super reasonable. And I don't even think I paid for shipping. So,
Perfect.
or if I did pay for shipping, it was cheap, like $5 or something.
Okay.
So I got like 4 boxes of it to make it worthwhile and hoping, crossing my fingers that I would enjoy it. And I really do.
Okay.
It's so good.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
What is your favorite snack?
I'm a salty snack kind of gal. So I really like popcorn or chips, something like that.
Yeah. Cool. I agree. That's all I got for you. Thank you so much. This was so fun.
It was so fun.
I love chatting with you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And
You're welcome, Chloe.
thank you too. You're spending nap time with me. And I know this is like precious time. So I hope you enjoy whatever's left of it. And we'll talk to you later.
Sounds
And
good, Chloe.
get
Thank you
over
so
Dr.
much.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Yes. And
Yes.
thank you so much for inviting me. I was really honored that you reached
Oh,
out to me to do this. It
well,
was fun.
I'm so like I told my husband at the time that I messaged you too. I was like, I just messaged her and I'm sure she's gonna laugh and be like, who are you? No. And so I'm just honored that you did it. So thank you so much.
Chloe, you're so sweet.
Okay, we'll talk to you
Okay.
later.
Yep.
Bye.